Welcome to the Fast Modes Quick Chat series. I'm your host Tara, and joining us today is Jason Raymer, Senior Vice President of Revenue and Client Experience at iQmetrix. iQmetrix is a privately held software as a service company based in Vancouver, Canada, and the only provider of interconnected commerce software solutions for Telecom Retail. The company powered $17 billion in sales last year, handling nearly 60 million invoices and more than 28 million activations. And its solutions are used by more than 370,000 telecom retail professionals across almost 1,000 clients. With a career spanning 15 years in wireless telecommunications, Jason's expertise lies in crafting revenue-generating strategies, leveraging technology to help telecom retailers optimize their operations and foster strong client relationships. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, great. Okay, so iQmetrix recently unveiled the top 5 megatrends shaping telecom retail in 2024, which is based on the company's biannual iQmetrix Trends in Telecom Retail report released last year. Our first question for today is, what strategies can telecom retailers adopt to address the labor shortages and high turnover rates impacting the industry?
Yeah, I think it's important to note that the labor shortage is not a telecom retailer issue. It's a macro issue, right? And so when we think about what we have to do differently now, I think it's more about truly creating a great experience for your employees. And that's something that we truly believe at iQmetrix, and we believe that, for our clients, but also for our employees. And the biggest difference that you'll find today is no longer is retail built on the backs of 18-year-olds that are just looking for a commission check. And what we see is our best clients and retailers have low turnover rates, but they're also doing maybe unorthodox things in order to keep their employees happy that we wouldn't have seen in retail 15, 20 years ago. And when you think about profit sharing and you think about perks, all things that are starting to be included into the retail worker's life. And that's really something that we see working in the industry right now.
Wow, okay. So let's move on to the technology adoption for telecom retail. So when we speak about technology, one of the most glaring trends that we have today is AI. So with AI adoption on the rise in telecom retail, what role do you see AI playing in enhancing customer experience and operational efficiency over the next few years?
Yeah, you mentioned it just then, right? It's already on the rise. And so when we think about AI and how it was implemented just 24 months ago, a lot of carriers were just using it for network management. And then in the span of 24 months, we've seen AI functionality get all the way to kind of solving consumer problems for the telecom retailers and carriers. So when we think about then what's going to happen over the next few years, it's going to become highly optimized. And so no longer will you have brands that are trying to kind of test and figure out use cases, but rather those have been identified and now they're truly starting to gain efficiencies and enhance the customer experience, notably with the help of AI, versus right now it's more of a test and learn phase for everyone that's involved in it.
So what you're saying is that it's surely there, and it's just going to get bigger in terms of adoption, and there's going to be a lot more dependency on AI in coming years. Is that
And
right?
maybe, yeah, and maybe not even bigger the term. Probably you start to actually see greater efficiencies and return on investment of AI, where it's truly increasing ARPU because it's naturally offering the right thing to the right customer at the right time. Um, Whereas today, these use cases are just coming about within the carriers, and so they're implementing based on hypothesis or bets. And so over the next 24, 36 months, you're going to see that highly refined.
I see, I see. So basically, like if you have someone at a kiosk or at a center as a retail center, they're gonna be getting their recommendations just like that. So it will be easy for them to provide something contextual and suitable for every customer. Is that part of what we expect AI to be contributing to?
that'll be exactly one of the use cases out there.
All right. Okay. Okay. Brilliant. So, as consumers increasingly hold on to their devices for longer periods and show interest in refurbished options, how might telecom retailers need to adjust their sales and marketing approaches?
Yeah, I think there's been two schools of thought surrounding this, and one school of thought was we need to continue to leverage the promotions and offerings that are in the marketplace. And what we see and find right now is that's actually having little impact to consumer behavior. It's not materially changing, the device upgrade cycle. And so when you think about the retailer's role right now, one thing that is certainly working is starting to build a program approach around customer outreach and engagement. And when you think about just customer outreach from the retailer into the consumer, 5 years ago, we would have said, hey, that's a sales tactic, right? The customer is eligible for an upgrade, send them the text message so they can get them in the store. Whereas that has to mature and is maturing today, where it's more staying truly engaged with the customer so that you have them through the whole journey. So post sell, checking in on them, making sure they understand the community events that me, the retailer, is doing in their community. And then when there is time for the upgrade, continuing to engage with them at that time also. And so the outreach strategy has to be more holistic around the customer journey versus just at the time in which they are high propensity to purchase.
And are you seeing this trend already taking place across today's operator brands?
Yeah, certainly. Like we have a great partner by the name of StatFlow, and they do some consumer outreach, enable retailers to do that. And even in their business, we've seen that change materially, where it was, hey, a sales tactic that's turned into truly an engagement model. And you see mid-size and large retailers being very successful with it at this point.
Wow. Okay. So, what impact do you see the rise of wireline MVNOs and their bundling strategies having on traditional wireless carriers?
This is interesting because if we look over the last 36 months, obviously the MVNOs have had a great impact in terms of subscriber acquisition for postpaid phones. And so that's materially hurt, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. When we think about the long-term effect, though, this will probably sort itself out. Notably, all of the MVNOs have made it very clear that they are a cable wireline first organization. And no one has been so bold as to go out and purchase spectrum in order to create their own wireless network, etc. So there's no strategy being shown from the MVNOs that they truly want to be the carrier and the mobile network operator. And so the way this will sort itself out long term is the our tier ones of the world, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, among others, they have one high advantage over the MVNOs, and that's the demographics in which they sell to. The MVNO or wirelines, they over-index in aging demographics as customers, and they're not gaining, new generations that are purchasing phones, whereas the likes of the T-Mobile, AT&T, and T, and Verizon are getting acquisition in those demographics. So it's had a very large impact in the near term, last 36 months, and that's probably going to happen a bit more here in the coming quarters. But eventually, there's going to be the wire lines will no longer have that leverage point, and you're going to see it start to even out.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. That's definitely one of the mega trends that was in the book and in the white paper. So the other thing that we saw is that the concept of interconnected commerce. So that concept has recently gained a lot of attention in retail. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, certainly. Interconnected commerce is a positioning and a category that we created at iQmetrix. And the reason that we went out on a limb to say, hey, that it needs to be its own category within tech solutions and wireless retail is because no longer is a carrier or a retailer looking for just a point of sale or just a single solution to solve a problem, but rather all of the disparate parts of my operations and of the consumer journey need to be connected so you can actually serve customers the way they want to shop. And the reason for all of this kind of coming about is it's very clear to us is that the carriers want unification of their brand. And so that's where they need their corporate retail stores, their indirect retail stores, their online presence, all to have the same look, sound, feel, so consumers have a very consistent experience. And so with interconnected commerce, we have the ability or the plumbing to be able to connect those for carriers and retailers so they're truly meeting customers the way they want to shop. And the story here is we're all competing with Amazon, not because we're selling the same thing, but because of the experience that Amazon provides. And that's what wireless retail and the telecom market needs.
Wow, okay. So do you think operators are ready for this, to take this step?
That's a really good question. I think operators desire for the outcome. I think going through that level of transformation is hard. And so everyone has their own path towards that. Now that is something where we acknowledge that, and so as a part of interconnected commerce, we make it very clear that it's not an all or nothing approach. It's incremental changes that you can implement that will get you to a long-term outcome that you desire. And I think that's an important note here. To say that you have to go in and rip and replace all your technology to get a certain outcome, we would say that's the wrong partner to do business with. It needs to be someone who can help you gradually get there so you don't disrupt the business you have today.
Wow, well, that's really a great insight, into this topic. Well, I think yeah, it's been quite a great discussion, and thank you, Jason, yeah, for joining us and for sharing these on the future of telecom retail.
We appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Okay. And for those tuning in, if you'd like to learn more about the mega trends discussed today, read iQmetrix white paper at www.iqmetrix.com slash industry intelligence slash 2024 telecom retail trends. You can see the link below, and follow us for more updates and insights as we continue to uncover the latest in technology and telecommunications. See you in our next session.